Okay, in this instructional, we're going to cover the winner's mindset, goals, and aspirations to set in the film industry. And we figured we share this because, especially for people who are newer to the industry, action actors, stunt performers, even people who've been in the industry for a while, especially people who've been in the industry for a while, they may set completely unrealistic goals for this business. So we figured we share some of these things with you, which you can easily research and verify for yourself, which we encourage you to do, so you can set more realistic goals. Some people, quit 6 inches, from goal. They're 6 inches from goal and they quit because they didn't set the right goals, right? And just so you know, right now I'm still traveling. There's another unit of instruction called Life on the Road, and we share with you some things, what it can be like when you're traveling, for work. And so right now I'm still on the road now. Still not. I was in Southeast Asia, a bunch of other countries, and I'm now back in the States, outside of Maryland. Still not home yet. We still wish to share these kind of videos so you kind of get a feel for what life can be like when you're traveling. So that's why, I'm here now and not back in the gym or my office or something. All right, so a few things we're going to cover. And this is going to give you a lot of insight. Now, again, a lot of what we share with you is based on the industry in the United States. Yet, it applies to many other countries as well. A lot of them are very similar to the States. And so you'll be able to, it still applies. You just may have to, find different sources for your information. Yet just know it's US based is what I'm speaking of primarily. So historically, the first thing to understand is that there's 3 ways into this business. The first way is that you're either born into it. You're born into a stunt family, or even a family who's already are action actors. You're born into it, you marry into it, or someone adopts it. Those are the 3. You're born into it, you marry into it, or someone adopts it. And so again, like we shared with you before, you're born into a family and you're raised up. You have all these connections. It's one of the most effective ways because the people know you because of your parents or because of your relatives, right? The second way, again, is you marry into it. You marry into a family that's already established. And again, these are the 3 ways into the business to be successful. And the third way is someone adopts you. And someone adopts you could be usually a stunt coordinator, who adopts you, takes you under their wing, and they help you develop and grow your career. And that's what happened with me. And without it, you're pretty much screwed because it's challenging really to get in and have any type of career unless that's the case. And so here's the thing. What you did by investing in this master course is you actually got the third thing. You have someone adopting you. That's what we're doing. So we're here to guide you. I mean, we've helped people get their first gigs and everything, different parts of the U.S., different parts of the world. And we're even here as a resource to help guide, different stunt performers and action actors with their career. So that's what you're doing now, is that you are being adopted by CPT Stunt Alliance. And we do all that we can to lend you a hand, even put you in touch with other people as well. So, and I'll get into why, when we, later on, why we do this sort of thing. That's what's actually happening right now. So moving on, it's very important when you're starting this business to have the right goals and aspirations. And like we alluded to earlier, a lot of people have, completely unrealistic goals, which is why they aren't successful. And you can be a wonderful person, have the greatest, of intentions, yet you have to understand the nature of this industry. And so here's what a lot of people do. They come in, they'll say, oh, I got this 3-year game plan, or I got this 5-year game plan. And they go and maybe quit their job, their main career, and they go full time into this because they want to support themselves, with this career that they have as a stunt performer, action actor. And so they go all in and they work, little BS part-time jobs, kind of keep the bills paid while they're in this business. And that sounds great in theory, right? It's okay. All right, give it 5 years, 3 years. You got money saved up, work as a waiter or waitress or barista or whatever, drive some type of ride share, while you're building up your career. Yet rarely does that work out. So many people just say, oh, I'm going to drive Uber, I'm going to drive Lyft. while I build up my stunt performer career, action actor career, and really all they become is just a professional driver. 3 years later, they're just driving all the time, right? And so it's just not realistic for you to superpose your own timetable onto an industry. All right. This industry does not care about your bona fides. It does not care about your certifications. It does not care about your qualifications. Unlike any other industry where that's how you get hired, right? All the, your degrees, certifications, years of experience, that's what gets you hired in other industries, not this one. It is completely asinine, right? Yet it has always been a good old boys network where it's about relationships and people giving you the nod, the magic handshake, all this type of stuff. It's ridiculous. And what part of what contributes to people getting killed and injured on set? You have people who aren't qualified, who have no solid training, yet they got the magic handshake from someone, and that's how they got the position. It's just the reality of it, right? And this is in the U.S. Like I said, it's like that everywhere. It's not just the U.S. I'm even speaking of the U.S. So when you understand that they're not going to look at your credentials, that you went to stunt school and other things, then you understand that you can't make those kind of projections that you're going to make it happen in 3 years or make it happen in 5 years. It just doesn't work that way, right? And they keep it like this on purpose because they want to keep it a good old boys network, because they don't want to get a lot of them who are in these positions and don't wish to get pushed out. This is how it is. They view new people coming to the business as a bad thing. And they're not wrong, because it means that new people coming to the business take away from a finite number of jobs. And this has been this way for decades, in the film business in the United States. That's why most of our people stay away from opening up stunt schools in the U.S. They call them stunt seminars, stunt workshops, because for so long, if you open up a stunt school, they instantly blacklisted you. Right? So you could be a stunt coordinator, well-known, well-liked. You open up a stunt school, and everyone would blacklist you because you're now churning out all their competition. The people are going to take away their jobs. This is how they think. And this is still present and prevalent now. That's why you don't see stunt schools everywhere. You see stunt seminars, stunt classes, stunt workshops. I mean, I know established stunt coordinators that obviously have stunt schools. They would never call it a stunt school. Right? It's always a stunt workshop. It's like, huh? Right? And it's because of that. And I know stunt coordinators who are established who got blacklisted because they went to a stunt school and made the mistake of coming in and telling all the stunt coordinators they went to a stunt school. This is how it is in the States. Again, in the UK, it's different with the BSR. Yeah, like I said, we're basing everything on the United States. All right, so what are some things that you can do, that some knowledge you can have where you can set realistic goals, right? You're not going to like to hear this, yet this is the actuality of our reality. And you can verify everything we're sharing with you in the U.S. with SAG, the union. And according to SAG, there are only 2 to 3% of all stunt performers, action actors, and actors earn enough money each year to support themselves. Only 2 to 3%. It has been consistent throughout the entire history of SAG, the union. They know what everyone gets paid, right? So they can easily, and they'll tell you this. All you gotta do is call them up and ask them. They'll tell you 2 to 3%. Now, when we say 2 to 3% that are able to support themselves, that doesn't mean they make millions. In LA, you might be making 70 grand a year. And 70 grand is nothing in LA. You're not going to be living comfortably on 70 grand. You're just going to be like keeping your head above water. So all the people, the big name actors, the A-list actors, the Denzel Washingtons, Tom Cruise, Morgan Freemans, the Chris Pratts, all those actors are included in that 2 to 3%, right? So only 2 to 3% earn enough to support themselves, to make a living. That means roughly 97 to 98% starve with the money from the film industry. They cannot support themselves. And this is consistent. People have been in the business 10, 15, 20 years. Call up and verify for yourself. Why would you go into a business and not know this stuff? How can you make goals about, set goals and you don't even know what the industry is like, right? That means SAG has a 98% failure rate. What business would you go into where 98% of the businesses fail? They don't make enough money to keep their doors open. So that's why you have to come in this with realistic goals. And I share this with stunt performers and action actors, even filmmakers, because it applies to most of the filmmakers, except for crew. Crew's the exception. Yeah, for especially for cast, get rid of these ridiculous goals, that you're going to be making this much money by year 1 and year 2. It's not going to happen like that. It's a fluke if it does, right? So all right, so knowing there's a 98% failure rate, and the union does nothing to improve this. They're not trying to help you make more money. They're just not. That's not even a priority of theirs, right? They're focused, they say they're trying to help us get our residuals and all this type stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to go on all that. Yeah, this is just the scenario. So if this is the case, if there's a 98% failure rate as far as earning enough to even support yourself, then what is a good way to approach this from a financial perspective? The most effective way that has worked for everyone who I know who is successful, and by successful, I mean who's still in the business 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, still working, still making money. This applies to the vast majority. Again, not the anomalies, right? The best way to come at this is to view this as a hobby or passion that you enjoy, that you can make money doing. So just like somebody who enjoys shooting, bang, 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 or cycling, or surfing, or skateboarding, they would do it regardless because they love it. It has nothing to do with money. They love shooting, they love surfing, they love skateboarding. And then along the way, they pick up a sponsor. They're like, now I get paid to do stuff I love to do. This is awesome. View it like that. So view it like a hobby that you make money doing. View it as a passion that you make money doing. And if you come into it that way, there's not going to be a 3-year cutoff, right? You're not going to say, I'm just going to have fun skateboarding for 3 years and I'll never do it again if I don't make a dime. No one does that, right? Won't be that kind of cutoff. It'll just be you saying, let me put this as part of my life. Let me go in there and find out if I enjoy it, if it's something I'm passionate about. It's an art, right? Do I enjoy painting? Do I enjoy singing? Do I enjoy dancing? Because if you do enjoy those things, you're going to keep on doing it for the rest of your life as long as you can. And that's the same way that you approach this. If you come at it that way, you're going to be successful. Because what happens is that over time, and as long as you're focused on building relationships, your career will get better and you make more money. It will happen. Now, if you're not focused on building, not just initiating a relationship, not starting a relationship, starting it and building it, growing that relationship, over time, you're going to make money. You're going to book more. If you just keep doing this and you're not focused on starting and building relationships, key relationships, over time, you're not going to get anywhere. And there's plenty of people who started this and 3 years later, 5 years later, no longer they're in the business. Or 10 years later, they're in the business and still barely working. Still deluding themselves, saying that they're a professional actor or professional action actor or professional stunt performer. And here they're working somewhere else full time. It's like, no, whatever you're doing full time, that's what you do. This film stuff is a hobby. Whatever you're doing 40 hours a week, that's your occupation. And so they'll be driving Uber or something 40 hours a week or some other driving job and still saying they're, full-time actor or something. Like, no, you're not. It's just not the case. So that's the thing we would share with you and recommend is if you're coming into this, come into it from that perspective. And you may not like to hear it. Yet again, if you're not in the States, check with any unions in your country, anyone that would know the numbers of what people get paid. And again, it's pretty much consistent. The vast majority of action actors, stunt performers will not make enough money to support themselves. They just won't. Not doing action acting and stunt performing, right? So, and then again, if you set these cutoffs, you'll wind up quitting and missing out on your chance. I forget how long, like say Samuel L. Jackson has been in the business. He was in the business a long time before he got his big break. Always building relationships, always working with people. And that's the formula. So it's like, I wish there was a shortcut to it, yet it's the nature of the industry and the way that they keep it. So think long term with this, not in the 3 to 5 years, and focus on building relationships. As long as you do that, you're going to get what you want. It may actually happen in a year or 2 years, yet it'll happen if you're focused on building relationships and not focused on the money and supporting yourself. All right, so next thing we're going to cover Again, this is all part of goal setting. This is a very, very important video on why we actually invested the time in doing this. Because a lot of times you'd be amazed how many action actors and stunt performers who've been in the business for 5 years or more don't even know this stuff. And this is again what you learn when you have stunt coordinators that take you under their wing, who adopt you, to have these kind of heart-to-heart talks with, right? And so this is again why we're doing this. We want to help more people, get started in this business and realize their dreams and their passions. So here's the next thing. A lot of newbie stunt performers and action actors have completely unrealistic goals. And not even newbies. There's some that, we'll cover what we refer to as the idiots, in a little bit. There's always idiots out there who try to derail your career, believe it or not. And even some of these people that we refer to as idiots, they don't know this stuff. Here is the thing to take to heart. You cannot be a stunt performer forever. You cannot be an action actor forever. That's just the way it works. And there are three things that, or three factors that can change or end a stunt career. Here are the three: injury, age, and interest. Those are the three factors that will change or end a stunt career. Injury, age, and interest. Let me share what each one is. Most stunt performers, especially the ladies, this is more common with the ladies. Most stunt performers and action actors are one injury away from changing their career. One significant injury. And I speak from experience. I've stunt coordinated many ladies who are stunt performers and action actors. And the guys, when they get injured, they won't. They'll still stick with it. Yet the ladies, when they get injured, like something with their spine or their neck or a knee or something, and that they're limping around for months, they're like, you know what? This stunt performing stuff's all right. You better go check out acting. And that's what it was very common. They suddenly want to get into acting. All right. When we get to other occupations, we'll share with you what some of the things that they do and actually work are. Yeah, that's what happens. Because it's fun until you get an injury that doesn't go away. Right. And, a buddy of mine, she did a high fall and somehow messed up her spine. It was months that it took her to heal. She couldn't work. Can't work. There's no unemployment. So you don't have money coming in. You got a spine injury. That's a rough injury to get. And so that's when suddenly, after years of her thinking that, she was going to have this amazing career long term, when she started you know what, I need to look into something else. So injury, again, is more common with the ladies. It also does happen with the guys too. Not as much though. The guys still tend to work through injuries and stick with it a bit longer. So that's number one. Number two is age. Everyone ages out. Women age out sooner than men. A lot of times the ladies who are stunt performers and action actors, the roles may not call for ladies who look more mature. Women are usually in their late 40s, early to mid 50s that they age out, right? Guys are mid 50s and up that they age out. Yet women by 45 to 55, in that range, you notice that you're not getting cast as much anymore. They got the younger ladies, right? And so stunt doubling, are you going to be willing to do the same stuff, that a younger woman who's 25 is going to do when you're 45? And you know that if you get injured or something or hurt, it takes longer for your body to recuperate from it. So women tend to age out from that 45 to 55 range. Men is around 55 and up. Anytime after 55, they start aging out. They start noticing they get booked a lot less, right? And it's for both men and women. And if they have nothing else, they're done. If you put all your eggs in the stunt performer or action actor basket, and then you age out, you got nothing when you age out. Again, this is why we're building up to what we're going to recommend in a few moments. So just understand age is that. And then the other thing is interest. How many people start a job and work the same job for 20 plus years anymore? How common is that, right? A lot of times people are like, I got tired of that. I wish to try something different. They might work that job for maybe 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, 10 years. Now you want to do something else. It's the same way with stunt performing and action acting. One day you just wake up and your heart's not in it anymore. You're like, you know what? I had fun. for what it was, I'm ready to do something else. Something maybe not even in the film industry, or maybe something else in the film industry, which is also quite common. A lot of people who are crew or producers or something started out as an action actor, stunt performer. And so these are the things that will change or end a stunt career. And I remember talking to some people, having dialogue with people and stunt performers in one of the Facebook groups, one of the stunt performer Facebook groups. And I made the announcement that I had retired from stunt coordinating and I'm focusing on directing, first unit directing full time. And one person put like a little laughy face emoticon on the post. It's like, I guess they're just thinking they're going to be a stunt performer. Like they make a little snide remarks. I had to set them straight. Yet, and they still had, had their ideas. Yet, I'm like, how asinine is that? Most stunt performers know this and either become stunt coordinators themselves, they may become riggers, or they'll become a second unit director, right? Or even a producer. And some even first unit director. So most of them already know this if they've been adopted by a stunt coordinator, that you're not going to be a stunt performer forever. Yet these people, because they've been booking gigs, think it's going to last forever. And so I don't even engage with them. Again, these are the people we're going to cover in a minute when we talk about the idiots, right? Yeah, just know that those are the three factors that you want to keep in mind. Again, by the time you finish this video, you're going to have a lot of good stuff, good information to make realistic goals and aspirations for your career. So injury, age, interest are the three things that will end or modify a career in stunts, in stunt performing or action acting. All right, now I'm going to share with you my goals and story. And we kind of discussed this amongst ourselves because, we thought about it because my story and my goals are unique. And as opposed to a lot of the other guys in our team, their goals, and story were more traditional. We decided to cover, my story because it's kind of unique, and it will give you some idea, or give you the idea that whatever you come up with for your aspirations in this business are perfect. Do not let anyone tell you that your goals and aspirations are wrong, right? The most common story is people want to get started in stunts. They go to stunt school or stunt workshops, stunt seminars. They start working, and they just keep hoping that continues, right? Nothing fancy. and they hope that somehow magically it will last forever. That's the most common story. Others are like actors, and they realize that they're not booking as much as they like to, and they're like, you know what? They talk to their agent, and the agent's like, hey, you should get some stunt training because you can start submitting for more roles and booking stuff, and they come into it. And then it's the same kind of thing. Those are the most common stories. Yet there are many of other stories that you probably haven't heard of that work. So that's, again, why we're going to share mine. Mine's unique. So for me, I never wished to go into stunts. Zero interest. My focus was, because I didn't see a lot of people of color in movies, especially good roles, lead roles, right? Especially in action movies and comedies, which were always my favorite genres, were action movies and comedies. I'm like, it was like Leslie Snipes, like at the time before, and like maybe one or two other people, and it just weren't that many, and neither a lot of women. And again, I'm a U.S. military veteran. I know women squared away, Marines squared away, soldiers squared away, across the board. I'm like, why aren't they, being represented well with the movies? And so when I did my research, I learned that there are women out there, men and people of color out there who put in the time and have the skills and training, yet they never get the opportunity. And the one who can give that opportunity is the director. It's producers as well. Yet it's the director. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do something about it because I'm not one to sit around and bitch and moan. I do something. And I take action, definitive action to affect lasting change for the better. So I said, I'm going to become a director. And so I went to film school and learned to be a director and actually a line producer. So I learned all the business part of it too. And, graduated film school. And so I was a director. So then my journey, continued. I got a professional pro caliber training as an actor. Amazing when you get professional training. Acting is a wonderful art. Oh my goodness. And I started out doing acting. And then I realized along the way I was a stunt performer because in my life I was always active doing different stuff. Pilots, and I was a pilot, lifelong martial artist. did all types of shooting and all types of other stuff, scuba diving and everything. And so I decided to, actually, what made me decide to do it was, since my two favorite genres were action movies and comedy, when I learned about how to make action movies, I learned I had to work with a stunt coordinator. And then when I started researching it, action movies, the budgets were always very expensive because of stunts, because of the action. And so directors are completely dependent upon a stunt coordinator in action movies or action TV shows. And I didn't like that, especially coming from a business background. Again, I was and still am a management consultant by profession. The company I worked for, we would go in, and when companies wanted to go from a local to national or go national, international, we would design strategy, marketing systems, sales systems, even fulfillment systems for them to do that. So I come from a strong business background. Been doing that for over 15 years, right? So this is one of the reasons why you see all this stuff built the way it is, our website, the stunt team, everything else, because I already know how to do all this stuff. So for me, I didn't like the idea of being dependent on a stunt coordinator and someone who's just going to tell me the price of stuff and I don't know it. So I said, you know what, I'd rather learn this from the inside. Again, I did the same thing as a management consultant. I would go and work in an industry for a short time to learn all the ins and outs of it so that I could consult with it. And so I did the same thing with this industry. And so I said, let me walk the path, of a stunt performer, an action actor. And I got in there. I went to several stunt schools, started working, found out I actually liked it. Right? I never thought that would be the case. Acting, I like. I never thought I would like stunt performing and action acting. And so I got into it. I realized that my background and my entire life lent itself perfectly to it. And I started doing it. Right. So after working as a pro lead actor for a time, I worked as a stunt performer. And then it just naturally kind of led me into stunt coordinating. I said, I need to get more training and mentorship to learn how to become a stunt coordinator. And that way I can start doing my own projects. Because again, my goal again is directing and is learning how to do the action and stuff myself. And so I got mentorship, started stunt coordinating. First gigs I'm working for free just to get experience, even though I was good and knew my stuff. And then over time, I got better and better, start making money, start making a name for myself in the industry where productions love working with me. I mean, being a stunt coordinator is only 20% artistic, 80% running a small business. And that's most people don't realize. Even the idiots we're going to cover in a moment. 80% of stunt coordinating is running a small business. Only 20% is artistic. Most of the time you're doing this, coordinating the same stunts and action sequences for movies and TV shows all the time anyway. They all want the same stuff, variations on it. So, I learned all that stuff and built up a solid reputation as a stunt coordinator. And that's from putting boots on the ground in different places and working with people and them working with me day in and day out. They'd already worked with other stunt coordinators, and producers and directors would come to me and pay me compliments. They even made testimonial videos that we have on our website talking about how great it was to work with us. And they'd already worked with other stunt coordinators. And one of them I remember, this was a Chinese director. He came to me and he told me, he said, Dylan, I've worked with other stunt coordinators, because he brought me in for all of his projects, right? And he told me on one of them, Dylan, I've worked with other stunt coordinators, but I like you. And what he was telling me was he could have hired these other stunt coordinators he worked with in the past, and they definitely would have, come to his production. Yet he liked working with me because I knew my shit. You understand? And I ran it like a professional company. All the systems, in our stunt team are done a certain way, and production recognizes that. They know that a lot of these stunt coordinators don't do it that way. So when they work with someone who runs it professionally, they love that. And this is important for you to know. Treat it like a job. Even though you might see the other people around you not treating it like a job, treating it like they're artists. You come in, you show up before you're supposed to be there. Every time they're looking at you, you're always doing something, not goofing off. These type, like you would at any other job. Oh, you're always busy, Boss walks in the room, you're on your laptop or whatever, type, that kind of thing. They love that, right? And also, you again focus on building relationships. So I built up a great reputation. I was booked all the time. I was working 7 days a week all the time. I was exhausted, and to the point where I said, "Listen, guys, I'm turning down gigs. These are guys in my stunt team, and we had some that were already stunt coordinators, some were aspiring stunt coordinators. So I took them under my wing and trained them. You train 3 hours every week, in the stunts, and then another 2 hours on conference calls for months. And they put in the time, and they became good stunt coordinators, and they started working. And we, it had a strong, amazingly powerful marketing plan where we crushed it. We were the only stunt coordinators I've ever come across that consistently were booked out 6 months in advance. I mean, all of us. It was 2 other stunt coordinators other than myself, and then we had some auxiliary stunt coordinators, and we would refer gigs to each other because we were so booked all the time. People love working with people who are professionals and had good business practices. It got to be so much that I started a stunt coordinator referral service because all of us would be booked. I contact my stunt teammates, like, I'm booked on those dates too, Dylan. Right? And so I reached out to some other stunt coordinators that I trusted, and I said, hey, you pay us a referral, we're going to refer the business to you. And that's what they would do. And our endorsement carried weight. We would tell production, hey, listen, we're booked, that these are people that we personally recommend. Stake my reputation on them. I wouldn't recommend them to you, refer them to you otherwise. And they came in, and I let them know this, the stunt coordinators. They knocked it out of the park. And that's what we did. How many people do you know? Talk to any stunt coordinator you know and ask them if they've ever been booked like that to the point they had to start a side business, a stunt coordinator referral service, where they're referring business outside of their stunt team to other stunt coordinators. So I know my stuff when it comes to building a business and building relationships, right? And so, and the fact that they always hired us. They never thought of hiring another stunt coordinator, even if the stunt coordinator tried to undercut us with their bid. Didn't matter. They're like, nope. I want Dylan, or I want the other guys on the CBT Stunt Alliance with their stunt team. And so, did this for years, and it was wonderful. I had so much fun. I still have relationships now. Some of my closest friends came about from this. I'm telling you, you stay in this business. You're going to have so much fun. You're going to grow as a person. There's going to be so many blessings that come your way that you can't even think of right now, right? And some of them are in the form of people that you never would have thought you'd be friends with, that you would never have met any other way. Right, my life is so wonderful as a result of this. I have zero regrets. I've had lousy stuff happen, and I don't regret any of it. So at one point, though, after many years of this, my heart changed, right? And it wasn't an interest. It was like, what you wish to learn. You are a recognized, globally recognized expert. You teach classes at American Film Institute, Conservatory, different colleges. Routinely, they have you come back, your whole team come back. It's safe to say you know a thing or two about coordinating action sequences and stunts for film and TV. So your original goal as a director of learning this and not being dependent on other stunt coordinators, you've accomplished. And I just felt it in here. It wasn't even something I was actively thinking about. And I felt it in my heart. I said, it's time for me to focus now on directing, and I made the announcement to my stunt team. And I said, guys, all my gigs, I'm going to refer to you. You're all trained in the same methods. We all operate by the same, strategies and SOPs. So, it's fine. My clients, though, were not happy because, they wanted to work with me. The relationship was with me. And I had to tell them, listen, these are guys on my stunt team. I'm focused on directing now. I'd love to work with you. You know that. Yeah, I'm a director now. I do stunt coordinating. That was hard, because they were really upset. They felt like I could tell that some of them were really hurt, especially the lady directors and producers who love working with me. They want to work with me, and I'm like, I know I have to focus on this now. And so I made the announcement to everyone and had to double down on it because some of them kept offering more for me to come back. And I said, listen, you hire the guys on my stunt team. They're trained at the same things that I do. And I'm still part of the projects. We have like a Gestalt type method before every project. So we all come in and give each other input on the project. So you're going to get the same quality and caliber stunt coordinator, as long as you stick with our stunt team, which is what they did. That's a lot, because that's not the case for most stunt coordinators globally. People they don't want to go with anyone else. They want to go with the one, right? And this is what you can't tell when you just look at someone's IMDb page. You can't tell what I'm sharing with you, because the IMDb page only tells you what projects they were hired for. It doesn't tell you what production thinks about that stunt coordinator. It doesn't tell you that production will never hire that stunt coordinator or stunt performer or action actor ever again in life. It's not a review site. Oh, I love working with them. That's why we have video reviews on our website, where I actually have videos from producers and directors, and even some of the actors that sent those videos that we have on our website, so production could see and hear from actual producers and directors what they thought of us and how they swore that why they would always continue working with us, right? So this is my background, right? And again, you can't tell that just from IMDb or, someone else, talking or something. This is what's going on and why we were as successful as we are and still are, right? And so for me, that's what happens. So if you look on the website, you'll see retired stunt coordinator, air quotes, because I'll stunt coordinate my own projects in pre-production. I will bring in someone from my stunt team, a stunt coordinator, or if they're not available, an outside stunt coordinator to actually stunt coordinate during principal photography. Yeah, during pre-production is when I will work with that stunt coordinator and say, here's how I want it done. Here's how, because we're going to shoot it like this. And so it's just fulfilling my dream. And that's the whole point. That was the whole point of all this, is that was my dream. And it just wound up taking me off on a tangent that I never saw before. And I loved it. And it made this journey so much more fulfilling, so much more exciting, so much more fun, right? Be open to that. If you have an opportunity to do something, do it. Because sometimes you'll end up, finding something where it just hits you in the heart. And you're like, I'm liking this. I like this a lot. And I never thought I'd be doing this. And that's what happened with me. So I wound up coming full circle. And it was my original plan. I didn't go off track. Yet that's what happened with me. And now I'm focused on first unit directing. And the last piece of this is that I realized the challenges that I experienced coming in as a stunt performer, and even I observed other people coming in as stunt performer, and still people of color, and still women, right, and even women of color coming into this, because remember, they're not born into it, didn't marry into it, and they got, there's a whole lot of people that want to be adopted by stunt coordinators, and they're very picky, right? And I had guys, buddies of mine. And the ethnicity, it isn't even a factor as much, right? Sometimes, yeah. I had guys who had stunt coordinators. They paid for all their courses, all their seminars. And it is a buddy of mine. He's a white guy, American. And he was, he was very hurt because he was like, I pay for all these guys' classes. I'm there all the time. I can tell he likes a certain type of person, and I ain't it. And even though I'm highly skilled, more skilled than a significant percentage of the people that he brings in, and that's how it is. Right. And I'm hearing these stories all throughout my career and experiencing it myself. Right. And I said, you know what? This is wrong, because you have people killing other people's dreams out of selfishness. I mean, it's training. It doesn't mean just because you train somebody, they're going to become successful and take your job. Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. So the one thing I always thought of, I said, there's something, when the day comes, I'm going to come up with a way to solve that. To eliminate that, so that it doesn't matter what the person's skin color is, what their ethnic background is, what their gender is, what their age is. Because guess what? Even if you're like at a certain age, people over 50 want to come in and do stunts and acting, and people are like, no. See, all that discrimination stuff is gone. So I'm going to come up with a strategy one day to eliminate that. So anyone who has it in their heart, they'll be able to do it. And now it's on them. Whether it happens for them or not is based on them. And they can't point the finger at anybody else. And so that's how this came about. This course is my solution for that. And even talk with our stunt team. And they all agreed. I mean, how can you not? It's like, yeah, hell yeah, we'll be a part of this. We want to help people, do this stuff as well. And so that's how this, all these courses came about, is because, we wanted to help you and others be able to pursue your dreams in this industry. So this is why we committed to doing these courses. I mean, this course alone took over 3 years to finish. This is a lot of work. I actually put off projects and stuff to finish this thing up, because it was so important to me to leave this kind of legacy to help others. 3 years. And remember, I'm getting paid for this stuff, and the team isn't. It's something that, we wish to do because we know it will benefit a lot of people. 3 years. How many projects you worked on for 3 years, working and putting in a lot of work. So that's why we say, refer these courses to as many people as possible. Help us help other people, because it makes a huge difference. And it took a lot of effort to put this together. We could have made a hell of a lot more money doing a hell of a lot less. We didn't have to do this at all. Not only we charge thousands of dollars for these courses. Most of the stuff is like around $100 or so, a couple $100 at that. So, and you can't get it anywhere else. So refer us to as many people as you can, have other people sign up for it, renew your subscriptions each year, because this was all about helping you realize your dreams and goals in this industry. Okay, so now we're going to move on to one of the most damaging things that can happen to you in the industry. These are people we refer to as idiots. They're human beings, not dehumanizing anyone, that they've taken on the behavior of an idiot. And here's what we mean. So the key thing is never let other people tell you how to grow your career. What? Gotta back it up, rewind it, and to say it one more time. Never let other people tell you how to grow your career, especially when they don't have a darn career. And it's usually the ones like that have nothing, right? And they're parroting, meaning that they've heard someone else say this and they want to sound important. They're parroting someone else's words in a Facebook group or a comment or Twitter or wherever you social media platform they're on, or in person, right? A lot of these people, these idiots, aren't even in the business 5 years, later. They're gone. These are the people who are given to gossip. And yes, it happens. The men and the women sit there and gossip. They badmouth people. Oh, this person doesn't know that person. This, they didn't get the magic handshake from this person. Or, they just come up with stuff that they just talk about. And you'll hear this all over the world. This is definitely not just the U.S. It's all over the world. And essentially, most of what they recommend is exclusionary. They always want to exclude people out. For example, there was actually a colleague of mine who became a colleague of mine. I didn't know them initially. One of my mentors actually referred me to him, to continue practicing more high falls. Yeah, I never got around to it. He's out in California. I'm not going to say his name. I like a good guy. I'm not going to say it though. And he used to provide free training once per month in high falls. And I met other stunt performers that we were connected on Facebook, and I saw that they were doing high falls, or I had pictures or video of them doing high falls. I reached out to them. I said, "Hey, where is that? I'd like to do some of that." They wouldn't tell me. Right? This is in the beginning, and I was like, why wouldn't they tell me? These are like friends of mine and stuff. I thought so. They just wouldn't answer. And then finally, one of them said, "Listen, don't let this get out because it's really by invitation only. It's 2 weeks from now." I'm like, what? So I go there and I meet the guy, and lo and behold, there's a guy who my stunt coordinator mentor was buddies with and had told me to go check out when I got back to California. And I was like, I never got around to it. I said, how about that? He and I started talking. And I even said, listen, if you like, we can come here. I love what you're doing, that you're providing free training for stunt performers. I have an elite tactical stunt team. If you like, we can even offer a little workshop each month on tactical firearms training for free. And he loved that. He's like, that'd be great. This, that, and the other. Now think about that. The guy who ran the event probably doesn't even know that these people are sitting there with these little secret, trying to perpetuate this secret handshake stuff, right? And they're saying, oh, we don't tell everybody about it, keeping people out. And here, one of the people who could help a lot of other people didn't even know about it. So for me, I found out about it. Yet for many other sub performers, people that they knew and worked with didn't assess them to be of value enough to even tell them about this training. This is just free high fall training, right? Why would you not tell someone that? Yet they heard someone say it and they perpetuate. They feed into it. Now, fortunately, the people I know weren't idiots. Yet they still were part of it because that's what they think they need to do to be successful. They're coming into an industry and they just want to tap into something that's there. Remember me, I come from a business background. As a management consultant, my thing is to look at the way things are done and find a better way. That's what companies would hire us to do. So here's how we've been doing it. It's been working. Yeah, we need a better way to make it work better. So my thinking is always that, right? So I'm going to the industry and I'm going to do what they say first to learn how it works, and I'm going to figure out a way to do it better. Yeah, that's not how most people are. So you may be the one who they exclude. There's all types of training that here you got to pay thousands of dollars for, they get for free. And it's in your hometown because they don't think that you're good enough and they're not going to tell you about it. Right now, I didn't go and make announcements on Facebook about it yet. I mean, I definitely let my stunt team know about it, and even other people I knew, I let them know, yet that's how some of them are. And that's not even bad. Yet the idiots are the ones who are going to tell you this person's no good because they didn't work with that stunt coordinator. They're no good because look at the type projects they've been in. I'm not making this up. Yeah, they've been in projects, Yet they're not. Their projects don't meet my personal standards. I'm not making this up. Yeah, they've done action acting, or they've done stunt performing, or stunt coordinating, or whatever. Yet they're not the caliber project that. And if you listen to these idiots, you will kill and sabotage your own career. It's the truth. So the key thing is, when you have someone, and you'll know now, keep an ear out for them. When you hear them speaking those negative thoughts, those negative things into your universe, be wary of it. Let it pass right through. Don't be the one gossiping. As they're talking and badmouthing people, you just be like this. Oh yeah. Oh okay. Wow. That's something else. Don't agree, because you don't know who's right around the corner listening. I've had stunt coordinator colleagues who post in some of the Facebook groups how they had people bad mouthing them and stabbing them in the back, people they had helped, and those people didn't even know that the stunt coordinator knew about it. And these are people who were born into the business, well connected, people referred to as legacies, stunt coordinating legacies, and those people who were the idiots didn't even know the stunt coordinators knew about it, and were referencing them in their posts, not saying their names. So if you hear somebody talking all that stuff, do not agree with them. Just be like this. Okay, really? Oh, all right. And whenever you speak, you're always positive. You're always saying good things. Hey, I don't know about all that. When I worked with him or her as a stunt coordinator, she was wonderful. I don't know what happened on your production yet. On my production, on the production I was on, she was great. Or when he trained me, for that production, the training was top notch. I felt really comfortable with it. So I can only say good things. I respect your experience that you had with him or her. Yeah, for me, this is what happened. Always be that person. Then you won't be an idiot, right? These people, I don't know what it is, this mentality, they always want to be negative, and they always try to tear other stunt performers and action actors down. You upload a video you doing some type of stunt, they got all types of negative stuff to say about it. You upload a video you doing some fight sequence. Oh, your feet were like this, and the timing was. It's like, what are you doing? You got enough challenges as actors, as artists. Why do you got to become one of the challenges I got to overcome, right? And that's how they are. So you're going to see them, women and men. Usually the women tend to have more sense than the guys in a lot of things in life. Yeah, this is one thing where they don't. Yet the women will feed into it as well. So if you're a lady, be especially cognizant of it. And if you're a guy, be cognizant of it. And do not get upset if the idiots start talking about you. As long as you're focused on starting and building key relationships and investing consistently in your training, and you know that you're good, you got your shit together, piss on them, literally. It doesn't mean anything. We'll say this though, if they're talking crap about you and it breaks out into a conversation in the social media, you have to address it. Don't just let it slide. If it's your post, turn commenting on. If you have to do that, because other people are seeing it. It's messed up. Yeah, this is just a reality. That's why we address the idiots. You have to understand this going in. If you are talented, if you have a good look, you're going to have people that the idiots will get jealous of. They'll be envious of, and they'll come after you. So do not let it throw you. Do not let it discourage you from this business. Understand, if you were irrelevant, nobody would be talking about you in the first place. If you didn't mean anything, nobody would notice you. So if you have idiots talking about you, that means they're envious of you. Ultimately, they don't like you for some reason, even though they've never met you, never talked with you. I even had it happen with me with projects, and I'm like, these people were talking crap about me. I have an extensive military training background. A bunch of it's put on the website, a bunch of it I can't put on the website. You could go and look at on there as well. It's pretty extensive. There is no stunt coordinator. I'll put money on this. No stunt coordinator on planet Earth that has as much training and certifications as I do. I'll put money on it. Money. I'll put $5,000 on the line. They don't have the same stuff or as much stuff as I have. That's because I've always prioritized that. Coming from a consulting background. So I'm highly trained. I may put up a video of showing some basic, firearms training with another action actor, stunt performer, and they're offering, criticism and all this type of stuff. It's like, dude, who do you think you're talking to? Yet they have no idea, right? Because they're idiots. So they'll do no research, and we're going to end on this. Yeah, just know that they'll do no research. They just see something and they're going to act on. So the takeaway from this is, do not let idiots tell you how to grow your career. The last part of this, the idiots will tell you not to work for free. The most asinine thing ever. Especially in the beginning. Later on, you don't want to be working for free unless it's a great opportunity. In the beginning, take as many free jobs as you can. You're nobody in this industry in the beginning. Seriously, right? Why do you think it always annoyed me when we have stunt performers and action actors who came in, and in the United States for theatrical productions, you get paid as a stunt performer about $1,100 per day minimum. That's for theatrical. These people will go in and take one stunt fighting seminar and want to come in and get cast and get paid $1,100 per day. Yet there's other collective bargaining agreements where you get paid at the, years ago $150 per day. Those are union projects. You get paid $150 per day. They didn't know this because they didn't do any research. And so you put up posts where they're going to get paid $200 per day, for some stunt role, some simple stuff where they're going to pratfall or something. And it wouldn't be me; it'd be other people posting these jobs. And I'm like, that's a good opportunity for people, especially ones getting started. They would be talking crap about, it used to be union rates are, a lot more. You're $1,000 more. And sometimes I weigh in and say, you know what? That's not the case. Because union rates are $150 per day, number one. And number two, you're nobody. You got nothing. And you're not even skilled. One stunt fighting class. You've seen your little videos you upload. You suck. You need more training. It's like someone who just trained in martial arts for 1 month. And they're not going to look good. Yet they come in and they have this unrealistic idea that they should get paid top dollar, listing the idiots. You work as many free jobs as you can. You ask for input. You ask for the director and stunt coordinator to assess you and give you feedback. Hey, what do you think of my performance? It was okay. You could definitely stand to practice this more or learn more. Here's someone I recommend. That's what happens. I recommend you train with this person. If you're doing that, you're going to get better, and then you're going to earn the right to get paid. And that's how you want to think about it. You're going to earn the right to get paid. Stop coming and thinking you're entitled to get paid when you are nobody and have no skills. That was just ridiculous just to hear people say this. He's like newbies sitting there turning their nose up at projects that either were free and were a great opportunity to give them real footage and IMDb credit, or are paid like $100. And they turn their nose up. And I remember hearing statements like, yeah, well, if you want to grow your career that way, doing that type of stunt for $200 or $300, for 4 hours of work. It's like, what job are you working outside of this business where you're getting $300 an hour, $300 for 4 hours of work, $75 an hour? You working at Starbucks getting in $12 an hour, and you sitting there turning your nose up at a job that you're going to love to do. It's going to pay you $75 per hour. That's just asinine, right? Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they buy into, right? So think of this. When you come in, you work every damn free job that you can, because that's going to help you start building the relationships that we constantly talk about. And when you focus on that, you focus on starting and building relationships. That director or producer who had the free gig 6 months from now, a year from now, is going to be the one that calls you back for a paid gig. That's how it always works. And anyone who knows this business knows that. So if someone telling you not to work free gigs, I don't know what they're talking about. They're idiots. Do not listen to them. The one thing we say is, when you work a free gig, talk to the director or producer. Say, listen, I'm a professional stunt performer. I'm a professional acting actor. I don't work for free. All right? Yet for you, I believe in your project and I believe in you. So I'll work for free on this project. Yet the next project, you make sure that you pay me. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. You just make sure you pay me something, because I like to work with you. I like you, and I like working on your projects with you. As a producer or director, they're like, you got it. You got it. That will be the case. We thank you again so much for being on this project. It means so much to us. And our next project, we're going to have a budget, and you're definitely going to get paid. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You don't need an agent or anything to get on that production now, because they remember you when they were starting out. That's a good part of how I did it. And even my guys, I talked to the same thing as stunt coordinators. When I was a stunt coordinator, I took a bunch of free gigs in the beginning. And I didn't deserve to be paid. I hadn't earned that right. I didn't know what the hell. I had training, and I knew what I was doing. I didn't have experience. So I said, I don't really deserve, I haven't earned the right to get paid yet. So I focused on getting in, doing a $10,000 per day performance, even on unpaid gigs. That's why people love me, right? And then once I knew I had enough experience, I said, now I'm not going to take any more free gigs. I'm only going to get paid gigs. I never had to turn any gigs down, because then all the gigs that came my way were paid gigs. Isn't that crazy? No one even came to me with free gigs anymore. It's like the universe just knew. right? And I share this story so that you understand it's going in. Take those damn free gigs. Build up your stunt and action acting reel, your acting reel. Build up those relationships. You look in the Elevate career marketing plan portion of this course, and you see the big four that you want to build your relationships with. That's how you build a relationship. And those free projects are some of the best to do it with. Even for paid jobs, they don't pay very much. They just pay your gas money or pay you $100 or whatever, the equivalent is in your country. Those are good. And some of the best projects to work on are passion projects. Stunt coordinators oftentimes have passion projects, something they always want to do. They're tired of sitting around. They're tired of doing the same old crap. And they just want to do something. So when you meet a stunt coordinator, you tell them, you got a passion project. You ain't got to pay me. Let's make it. Let's have some fun. Let's make movies. You tell a stunt coordinator that, they're going to remember you. And then when they actually do the project and you're in it, you're set. You are on their short list. That's how you do it, right? Every stunt coordinator has a passion project that they want to do for free, and you tell them, do not pay me, right? You ain't got to pay me. Let's have fun. Let's make movies. I like you as a stunt coordinator. I don't want to work with you, and let's make this passion project. And the moment you make that passion project, you're set with them for life. So if you listen to these idiots that tell you not to work free projects or unpaid projects and don't work low-paying projects and all that type of stuff, it's on you. You probably won't be in the business 3 years from now. And if you go in and you do this stuff that we're sharing with you, don't listen to the idiots. You're going with a strong game plan. Do the free stuff, do the low pay stuff. Just always have a conversation with production and let them know, listen, I usually get paid this. You're paying this, or you're paying this. I usually get paid this, and I believe in you. I like what you're doing, and I wish to work with you more in the future. Just so in the future projects, make sure you pay me more. You got a budget, take care of it. And they understand what you're talking about. Hey, listen, I got to make a living too, right? They understand that. And so that's one of the most effective ways of growing your career, these free gigs. What takeaway? Do not listen to idiots. Nod your head and you focus on building and growing your career. All right, we're going to finish up with a few other things. And you can, again, go back and re-listen to certain parts if you need to. Yet, this one is very important. They're all important. That's why we have, doing this instructional. Yet this one will ensure that you're in this business 5 years from now, 10 years from now, still making money. Okay, now we shared with you about taking free gigs or not free gigs, unpaid gigs. Yet we're going to talk about the money now. All right. One of the most effective pieces of advice offered to me, I never will forget this. I really like this guy. He's a buddy of mine. Ex-CIA, that's all I'm going to say. And he's in the film business. That's what I mentioned. He's ex-CIA. And he went into the film business afterwards. Amazing story and background. And he shared something, and he shared it with me because I shared with him some of my background. We kind of meshed, And he shared something with me about how he was able to work in this business consistently. Booked the whole year in advance. This guy worked all the time. He and I met. I was stunt coordinating a project. And I think he was a gaffer or G&E, or he was doing something. I don't even recall exactly what it was. Yet we were on set together, and it was a night shoot. And we started talking, and somehow we got on this topic. And he said this to me. My stunt coordinator mentor didn't even say this, and he aged out. My stunt coordinator mentor aged out, and. Quick side note, when I told him I was focused, my stunt coordinator mentor shared with me that whenever you can build relationships with producers and directors, do so, and he shared a story with me as to why. And the stunt coordinators who had focused on doing that in the beginning of their careers still never age out, right? And so I never forgot that. It's one of the reasons why we always do that. We always encourage other people to do that too. And he said if he had done that, he would still have a long, healthy career. And since he didn't, he focused on building relationships with stunt coordinators. And of course, all the stunt coordinators age out. So he aged out too. Yet the ones who didn't, who focused on building relations with producers and stunt coordinators, not just stunt coordinators, they continue to work. And that's why I've always done that. And he even complimented me on the fact that I did that. I was doing that. So that was a foundation of why we cover that in the Elevate career marketing plan portion of this course, of this master course. Yeah, this is something that my buddy shared with me, and my stunt coordinator mentor didn't even know this. We could charge a separate for this. We could charge extra for what we're about to share with you now. This is good stuff, right? And so here's what my newfound buddy shared with me. So after he left his last job, I'm not going to say what it was again. Someone shared with him the same knowledge, and the knowledge was this: always be able to do 4 jobs in the film in the film business. I'm going to repeat that. I want to say it one more time. Always be able to do 4 jobs in this business, and if you can do 4 jobs, you will never run out of work. Right? You will never run out of work. And he broke it down for me. So he was, I don't even know, I don't recall exactly what he did yet. I think he was a gaffer, something with camera department. I think he might even have been able to be a line producer, or his other buddy might have been a line producer, and something else. He did 4 things, like the guy told him. And he said, Dylan, here's what happens. You work more, because ideally you need these other things to be crew positions. These should be crew positions. You know, they can be people that usually work behind the camera. And a stunt coordinator usually works behind the camera, and so does an armor. Yet usually something with crew. And in the Elevate Career Marketing Plan, we cover this, what they are. He did those 4 things though. And because of those 4 things, he said, here's what always happens. Production always needs crew. You can't make a movie or TV show without crew. So if you have these other crew jobs, they're always going to cast you. And they're going to cast you for different things. So in this production, they say I was a gaffer. This man, my buddy, from that night shoot, had to leave to go right to the airport to be flown out to the Midwest in the United States to do another one of his 4 jobs. All expenses paid, right? And he said, the whole year I'm always booked. And I'm always booked doing one of these 4 jobs. Because these are jobs that all productions need, whether they're doing feature films, TV shows, short films, web series, they all need these things. And because I do those 4 things, I guarantee that I'm always booked. And it means I never have to get a regular job. I'm always on set. I'm always building relationships. And then when I'm on set building relationships, I'm always telling people about all the 4 jobs that I do. And I thought that was just absolutely amazing. I'm like, yes, that is so good. And for me, that's why I, in addition to being a stunt coordinator, I also got trained. I was so blessed. My instructors and teachers were people who've been in the business for 30 to 40 plus years as armorers. So I became a licensed and permanent armorer in California, even permanent with the California Department of Justice. Dangerous weapons permits are almost impossible to get. And, I got hired by one of the largest armorers in the country nationwide. I'm still amazed at how that happened, right? And it's because of the way I carried myself and conducted myself. So I became an armorer for the film and TV industry. I was also still a stunt performer, and also trained to be a professional lead actor, not just an actor. Professional lead actor. I can carry feature films. I can carry TV series. I can carry TV episodes. I can carry scenes. I can do all types. That's a separate skill set within acting, to be a lead actor caliber. And I made sure I trained for that, right? Now, if you notice, the choices that I made were still things that they all weren't in front of the camera. Like the stunt coordinator's not in front of the camera. Neither is the armorer. Yet the actor and stunt performer is, right? Yet what we share with you is don't think like that. Think you could be a BTS photographer. Some people are first AD. A lot of people become actors. A lot of action actors and actors go on to become producers, right? You find another crew position or a couple other jobs that you can also do. It could also be an action actor. You already got 2. You're an actor and you do stunts, right? Yet you want to add at least 2 more. Ideally, something that's a crew position, because that means that you always get on set. And I've had buddies who did BTS photography. They're stunt performers that worked second unit camera. They could do some camera stuff. All right. And they could even do VFX editing and even some editing. And they're stunt performers. So they let production know, listen, I'm a stunt performer. I'm an actor, an action actor. I wish to be in your project is that I can also do BTS photography when I'm not on camera. And if production wants to have BTS photographer, and they'll give you a bump. Usually, they'll pay you a bit more, and they say, "Well, we can get an action actor, a stunt performer, and a BTS photographer." Boom, you're cast. Isn't that crazy? And sometimes they'll bring you in just as a BTS photographer. It could be any of the positions. We'll just say BTS photographer. They'll fly all over the darn country for this stuff. And then a lot of times you wind up getting other roles. I went in as stunt coordinator on projects and ended up being, an actor. They found out I could act. And they said, "Oh, someone called out. They weren't able to make it today. Can you learn these lines in this script and be the actor?" I'm like, "Yes, I could do that." Right? There's opportunities that come about on set that don't come about otherwise. So the more you're on set, the more it works together. So after this video, take a moment. You can even look at the Elevate portion, the career marketing plan portion, and come up with 4 jobs that you can do. So if it's already going to be action actor or stunt performer, come up with 2 or 3 more. And we give you some great ideas. And the ones that we give you are ones that stunt performers and action actors are currently doing. And they've been doing for years. We interviewed all of our colleagues and buddies and stuff to find out what they were doing. And it was all types of creative and imaginative ways that they've ensured that they've worked consistently. They have very active careers even now. And it ain't just from doing stunt performing and action acting. It's doing the other stuff that production needs. When production knows they can tap you for much needed crew positions, and you're also an action actor, they know they're going to give you a role. They're going to cast you as an actor in the project, as an action actor or just an actor, and you're also going to be doing a crew position. And that means you're going to get more money because they may only need you for an action actor for 2 days, yet the crew position they need for the whole movie or they need for the whole TV show, right? So you make it a lot better. So this is one of the most important things to know as you're setting your goals, is to determine now what are the 4 things you want to do. And those 4 things will ensure you have a long career, and you're gonna make way more money than if you don't employ this tactic. All right, we're gonna finish up now with this winner's mindset. So there's an old saying: the stronger the foundation, the larger the structure that can be built upon it. And that is 100% accurate. So you're laying a foundation right now. And again, why we're making this video and why it's as long as it is, why it's so very important. This, watching this video and doing the things that we're sharing with you will shave years of mistakes and heartache off of your life and your career, as you're getting underway. So one of the things to understand is you want to prioritize in this business, set your priorities straight. You want to prioritize family, your happiness, and career in that order. Family, happiness, and career. Because if you don't do that, you may sacrifice your family. And family includes your friends, close relationships. Because really, some of your friends, really close friends, are as close to your family, right? Those relationships, don't lose them. Even if it means, hey, 1 day per week, you're training all the time, you're hanging out with all the cool film industry folk, you still set a day per week where you take an hour and maybe just reach out to friends and family, or spend time with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Do something. Make sure you're still making those investments and nurturing those relationships, because you don't wish to sacrifice that, for a career ever in life, right? And after family, we'll say family and friends. Yeah, family and friends is your happiness. You got to be happy, because you can look up and be miserable. I told you one time when I was working like 7 days a week, I didn't know what project I was on from one day to the next. We had our production checklist where whatever project we were doing, we knew from pre-production meetings what to bring and what we were doing. So I would just get to the point, I just showed up. I was always squared away. I didn't remember the name of these movies or TV shows. And I'd ask some of the crew, they were the same way. I'm like, what's the name of this project? They're like, I don't know. They work at 12-hour days, 5 days a week for months at a time. You don't even know, right? So you got to be happy sometimes in the midst of all that. And so every once in a while, take a step back and like, am I happy? Am I enjoying myself? Am I having fun? Because if you're not, you need to change something up, because that's silly to be doing something that makes you miserable, right? And the other thing is your career. Making sure you're doing the things. Always invest in continuing education. Do not just go to some stunt school or stunt workshop for a few months in the beginning and then sit on your ass for the rest of your career submitting for projects and hoping, wishing, and praying that you get booked. That's ridiculous. We always emphasize continuing education every year for all of our stunt team. And we don't have to. I think it should be mandatory, with this industry, especially with being stunt coordinating and armors. It should be. Yet, another conversation. Yet, always be investing in yourself. Always be getting better. Now, here's the thing. We're going to move on now. The mindset you want to have is this. There's only two things: success and feedback. Eliminate the words failure and the thought of failure from your vocabulary. There's only success and feedback. That means you either are successful in accomplishing your goals, or something happened, you got feedback. Okay, well, now I know the feedback I got was, don't do it like this anymore. Do it like this instead. So next time, that's how I'll do it. And as long as you do it that way, it'll be positive and progressive, and you wish to keep doing it. This is worth everything in life, not just with stunts and action act, right? If that's the mindset you want to have, suddenly everything becomes fun. Even when people around you say stuff that's negative, you tell them that. Say, look, there's no such thing as failure. You didn't screw up. That's feedback. You're learning. That's the whole point, right? Now, actually, you can learn from this. If you keep doing the same thing, you won't be learning. If you know that you're not going to do this anymore, you learn from it. It's called feedback, brother. It's called feedback, sister. That's how we do it. So it's just success and feedback. Let all that failure stuff, I screwed up, all that my bad, let all that go. That's what we are here for. People are going to love being around you. They're going to love having you on set. They're going to love having you in their workshops and stunt seminars. They're going to be inviting you to stuff because you have a winner's mindset. You are a creative catalyst. You are a positive person. They love having you around. Remember, I told you how production loved having me on set. They didn't want to work with anybody else, right? So success can be that you do this for 3 years and then you do something else. So if someone else talks, you say, oh, you were a stunt performer for 3 years and you went and did something else. Failure. No, I only was to do it for about 3 years. I just wanted to try something different. Maybe I came out of a bad relationship, out of a divorce, quit my job. I needed something new to do. People become U.S. Navy SEAL because of that. They're successful in their job and they're bored. They need a new challenge. They go become a U.S. Navy SEAL. They go and do something else. That's how they're not just SEALs for 20 years, right? And it may be that. Again, that's why you don't listen to idiots. If you had your fun, you wake up one day, it's been 3 years, like, I had fun. I don't want to do this anymore. That's not failure. It's not failure. You were a success. You did the things you wish to do. Now you do something else. That's the winner's mindset. Always win. In life, always move from one position of strength to the next. Always in life, always move from one position of strength to the next. One victory after another. And the victory may be, I wish to be a stunt performer. And I'll do it for a while. If I like it, I'll keep doing it. If not, I'm going to do something else. And if you do it for 2 years, do it. Work these free projects, paid projects, go on trips, travel around, go to stunt schools, have the time of your life. And after 2 years, you're like, you know what? I have fun. I'm going to do something else. You're a success. That's the winner's mindset. Well, I can tell you, though, is if you're having fun and you got that winner's mindset, you ain't going to want to stop after 2 years. Why the hell would you stop doing something that you love doing? And you actually, meet great people and you get paid to do it. Yeah, just understand that that's the main thing, is to have that type of winner's mindset, that it will help you enjoy what you're doing and also be able to grow a good career, a lasting career. Now, these last two things are stories that come from established people in the industry. And again, this helps you to build that strong foundation that we talked about. So I had the pleasure of meeting Andy Armstrong. He's a member of the Armstrong Action Team. Andy Armstrong, I think his brother's name is Vic Armstrong. They're world famous stunt coordinators. They stunt coordinated Thor. Andy actually was nominated for a Taurus Award. There's a scene where Thor's 3 buddies get launched through this window into a cafe, and they nominate him for a Taurus Award. He had to tell me, he said, those weren't people. I used stunt dummies, right? And Andy was there promoting his book at a stunt seminar, stunt workshop. Everybody else went to the stunt workshop because there were a couple other well-known stunt coordinators in the States that were there. They were going, like, it was a stunt fighting seminar. Even one of my buddies who went with me, a couple of my buddies were there. They were there for the stunt workshop. I was like, I'm already an expert in this stuff. I wish to make relationships. So we went into this place, and it was a jam. It was a jam in California. They were over there, doing all the stunt fighting stuff. I was parked right next to Andy off on the side. We were just talking for like an hour, right? And I really liked him, and he took to me and even gave me advice and stuff on what to do. I even watched the Elite Tactical Stunt Team, which was still in the beginning stages at the time. And I asked him a couple key questions. I said, Andy, if you had to do this all over again, you had to start right now. I mean, right now, today, Andy, what would you do differently to grow your career? That's what you always want to be asking these people, who've been in the business a while. What would you do different? Because that's how you grow your career differently, right? I learned this from business, doing some business. And so you skip all the heartache and toil they had to put into it. And you know what this man told me? I said, if you had to do it all over, Andy, what would you do? He looked at me and said, I would have been a director. This is a globally famous stunt coordinator. Comes from a family of stunt coordinators. And I asked him, what would he have done differently? And he said he wouldn't even have been a stunt coordinator. He would have been a director. I was like, and I didn't tell him my story, that I started out as a director, right? So I'm listening to this like, what? Do tell, Andy, do tell, right? And this is the part I'm going to share with you about the family. And this is what he told me. He said, being a stunt coordinator meant that I was away from my family for months at a time. He said it put a strain on my family because my wife had to hold down the fort while I was gone with our children. It also meant our children were growing up and I wasn't there. You didn't get a phone call from dad and all this stuff. It's not the same. He said, I'll be gone for months at a time. And he said it put a lot of strain on my family. And I mean, just what he shared with me. So I'm sharing it with you, right? And it actually made me respect him even more. And so he learned over time he had to really focus on working it out, with his wife. Because at some point, if your spouse isn't going for it, you got to leave this business, even if you're successful, unless you think your career is more important than your family, which would be foolish. And so that was always an issue and always something he had to address throughout his career is, being gone months at a time and his wife is there raising the kids by herself, even though the money's fine, yet it takes a bit more than that, right? And then the kids are growing up, where's daddy? I mean, imagine it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, no daddy. Sunday, no daddy. Next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no daddy. Over and over for months, right? And this is all for some film that may take a year or two to come out, right? And it put a lot of strain on his family. This is why, again, we say, the priority is family and friends. We'll say family and friends number one, and then happiness two, and then career number three. Now, another stunt coordinator I know, it didn't work. He lost his family. His wife ended up divorcing him because of the film business. The film business is feast or famine. And he worked. He worked as a stunt coordinator and a stunt performer. Yet it was just too many ups and downs. And he couldn't, again, it's not like you're making millions of dollars. So your income's like this, right? And she wanted to do things in life and couldn't. Like, sometimes you just can't go and travel. I couldn't just go and travel before, because my agent's like, look, we were submitting you for projects. You got to let us know when you're going on vacation. And I couldn't travel like I used to, like going around the world and stuff for like years. Because I always had to be on call. There are times you get an email 10:30 at night. I'm making this up. Can you be on set tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.? For an action actor role, or a stunt performer role, or a stunt coordinator, or a fight choreographer, or anything else. 10:45 at night, you get a text message or an email. Because someone couldn't make it at the last minute. And that's how it is, right? And you need to be able to do that. So, again, the one I'm thinking of, it was sad because he really loved his wife. This guy loved his wife, did not want to get divorced. He did everything he could to try to keep his marriage together, yet she, unlike with Andy, they were able to make it work. It was just too much. You can't go back and undo what has been done. She's there once again, raising it, by herself, and paying for all the bills. He's putting money in it and everything. She's like a single parent. Kids are growing up. They love daddy and stuff. Your daddy's gone. And what? To make movies? And especially if your spouse is not really into your dream, it seems like some silly shit to do. It does. It's not like, you're out there doing a job. They don't, oftentimes, they don't view it like you view it. They don't view it as legitimate work. I don't know why. We're at a 12-hour day. Everybody else only works 8 hours a day. Our standard day is 12 hours, right? yet they don't. And so there are going to be conversations where they may want you to leave that and do something else. And he went through all that stuff. And he still was able to pay all the bills and you know, be a good provider for his family. Yet his wife, at a certain point after decades, now called it quits. And it broke his heart. I mean, he was a broken man going through it. And unfortunately, he even posted stuff on Facebook. You know, I was like, you might want to stop doing that. Don't spill your guts on Facebook. You know, yet he lost his family because of his career as a stunt performer and stunt coordinator. And that's what you don't want to do. So just remember, you know, keep your priorities. Family and friends first and foremost. Don't lose those relationships, especially those close friendships. You can't replace those things, especially as you get older, right? Family and friends. Number 2, be happy. Don't be miserable doing this stuff. And then number 3, always focus on your career, growing your career. If you have those priorities, you have a good solid game plan going in, and we can guarantee you're gonna have a great time at this. You're gonna be a success with this, and you're gonna set realistic goals, have realistic aspirations. So we hope that this video has been beneficial to you. It's a long one. Yeah, this is the type of heart-to-heart conversation that you have when you have stunt coordinators that adopt you. They're going to talk to you like this. This is something you're going to find this in the book. There's no YouTube videos online about this one. This is stuff for people who've been in, who know other people who've been in, and they're sharing their collective experience and wisdom with you, right? So if you need to, you go back and re-listen to some of these parts as you go through your career, because some of these words will ring truer to you as you have more experience in this business and some success. And you're like, you know what? Let me make sure I stay focused on my goals. So if you need to, like, you know, take a moment now, kind of reflect on some of the topics we talked about. If you need to put pen to paper to help plan your goals and aspirations, or if you type it up on a you know, Word document or whatever, do what you need to do. You come up with some kind of game plan based on again, taking into account what we share with you on how you wish to grow your career.